Hey folks, Christina here. And in this video, we're going to walk through our leadership and action activity number one. This is all about priorities and the Eisenhower Matrix. Now, you have your instruction sheet here, which we'll look at in just a moment. There's also a handout with some instruction, or excuse me, some narrative about the Eisenhower Matrix. If I were you, I would probably take a quick look at the leadership and action activity number one instruction sheet. I'd probably kind of go through that first to see, okay, what's involved in this activity? And then I would read the Eisenhower Matrix. So let me just pull that over so we can all take a look at that together. So the Eisenhower Matrix is basically a productivity, prioritization, and time management tool that's going to help you basically by categorizing all of your tasks according to their urgency and their importance. And I would encourage you, this is a little 4-page document. I would encourage you to read through this document. And on the final page, it's going to have a blank option for you. But first, let's take a look at page 2. So this Eisenhower Matrix talks about, or it helps you prioritize your tasks that are important and urgent into quadrant 1, tasks that are important and not urgent into quadrant 2, tasks that are not important and urgent into quadrant 3, and then tasks that are not important and not urgent into quadrant 4. And on the bottom of the page here, it's got an example of a student Eisenhower matrix. So your life might look like this if you plot it out, or it might not. And it gives us some information about quadrant 1 is things you need to do right away. Quadrant 2 are things that you could schedule for later. Quadrant 3 are things that are kind of like the danger zone. Because quadrant 3 is all about delegate or avoid that. So, and then quadrant 4 is, I call this kind of the junk drawer in the kitchen of life. These are things that you just need to remove. They're just taking up time. They're keeping you from your goals. They're preventing you from making forward progress. So you can just get rid of those things. That is easier said than done, by the way, folks. Okay, page 3 gives you a few tips and tricks. And then page 4 is a blank Eisenhower matrix. You can fill that out as you go through the activity or not. It's totally up to you. And then the next thing I'm going to show you is the leadership in action activity instructions page. So this is the page that is going to help you build your assignment. These leadership in action activities are short, low point, low stakes activities that are sprinkled throughout our class. They absolutely give you an opportunity to practice skills and concepts to improve your leadership. And here's what I'll say. I'll just be really blunt with this statement. What you put into these leadership and action activities is what you'll get out. So if you really put some time, some energy, and some effort into these activities, these things can literally change your life. But, or and, if you choose to just kind of check the box so you can get the points, then you're not going to get as much out of them. So it's totally up to you. So let's take a look at this first part of the activity. Step 1 tells us we're going to do a brain dump. So you're going to get out a piece of paper, it can be a notebook paper, it doesn't matter. You can do it in your phone notes app. You're not going to turn this part in, by the way. But a brain dump, I suggest setting a timer for 5 minutes. You can get a lot down on a piece of paper or in your notes app in 5 minutes. So you're just going to write down everything that is competing for your attention. You're not going to organize this list yet. You're just getting it out of your head and either onto paper or into a notes app. And there's a big list of things that could be included in there. It's literally anything that's taking up your attention and your energy. Then step 2 is where you're going to build your own matrix. You can use this one. You can use the one that's in the actual handout for the Eisenhower Matrix. You could build one in AI if you wanted to. You could do one with colored pencils if you're artistic and you want to get fancy. However you do this, it doesn't matter. Just don't procrastinate it. So you're going to take all the items on that big brain dump you did, and you're going to carefully put them into the quadrants. And you're going to look at the definition to make sure that everything in your life is not urgent and important. It might feel like everything is urgent and important, but it's not. So you get to prioritize. Everything gets a home. Everything on that list gets a home. And if you're like me, you're going to be surprised how many things go on this not urgent, not important list. Perhaps you'll that'll be eye-opening for you. So that's the second part. The third part of this activity is I would recommend having a leadership journal, like a notebook or an app or a notes app in your phone if you're an electronic person. But look at these questions as an opportunity for you to do some self-reflection. So, which quadrant has the most items? Which one receives the most of your time each week? Which item from quadrant three could you delegate, postpone, or say no to? Which item from quadrant two deserves the most attention for this week? And what's one change you'll make over the next 7 days? So you'll take some time to think about those. And then I've got a little leadership connection. I've got a bonus challenge for you here. And excuse me. And then this is the part that actually is going to be your assignment. So the finishing up. You're going to answer only these questions for your assignment. You don't need to turn in all of those other questions. Those are for your reflection. What your final assignment will be is the first question is about self-awareness. What did you notice or learn about yourself while you were completing this activity? The second one is about your insight. What was the most valuable insight or the aha moment that you experienced? The third piece is about connection. So, how does this activity connect to your personal, your academic, or your professional life? You pick the connection piece. The next piece is about application. What is one action that you're going to take as a result of what you've learned today or by doing this activity? And then finally, the growth mindset and curiosity. What questions do you still have, or what would you like to explore further about this topic? So, again, all of the things at the top of this page are what get you to the final reflection, which is what you're going to submit. You do not have to submit your Eisenhower Matrix. You do not have to submit the earlier reflection questions. You only need to submit these 5 pieces. These are your questions that you'll submit. Okay, let's go take a look at the submissions area and scoot that over. And in your week 2, down toward the bottom, you'll see your, oh, sorry for the scrolling there. You'll see your submissions area, if my mouse will work. All right. Well, for some reason, my battery may have died on my mouse. So in the week 2 area, you'll have a submissions area for your leadership and action activity. You'll just take a few moments, log into that, submit your assignment, and then, oh, here we go. Now we can see it. It's going to be due on the 20th for this term. When you click that submissions area, you'll see there's a start attempt here, and you can put your Microsoft Word document file in here once you've clicked this submissions area. All right, folks, if you have any questions at all, you are welcome to reach out to me. Again, like I said, you can just type your answer in here. If you've got it in a file already, you can just attach it using this attachment button, whichever way is easier for you. All right, folks. I will be back with another video here in just a bit on our next activity.